Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. It is so wonderful to see you here again on this fine Monday. I hope you're doing well. I hope your training's good, your nutrition's good, all that jazz. If you need anything, be sure to reach out. We just want to make sure you're doing okay. If you haven't seen it already, we released a podcast on Friday, my wife and I, we being Sarah and I. She does a lot of stuff behind the scenes, but it's good to get her on camera. So if you haven't seen that yet, go ahead and check that out. We are sure you will enjoy it. It's all about gym etiquette 101, how to act when you first enter a gym. So hopefully you get something out of that. Be looking forward to new podcast episodes every Friday. So, throw us up on that second monitor, do your work, just listen to the dulcet tones of your boy and your girl at this point. Today, we are talking about the ever-growing industry known as smart devices. I'm gonna say smart devices because it's not just watches anymore. Now there are rings. I'm pretty sure soon you're gonna be putting it in your skin and they'll be tracking us more than they already are. But that's for a dystopian future down the road. Today we're gonna talk about the present and we're going to ask the question, can you trust that little guy right there? Can you trust your smart device to give you an accurate readout on your calories for the day, your daily expenditure specifically, your heart rate, your breathing rate, anything that it says that it measures, is it actually measuring it? Now, I wear a Fitbit, obviously. I've been wearing one for a long time. Can't even remember how long. My wife wears one, my mom wears one. I know a ton of people that wear them. My clients wear them. So this is no way an indictment on the wearable fitness industry. So I can only speak to Fitbit because that's the brand that I am used to, that I'm comfortable with. But we're gonna talk about some data that has kind of shown that all wearable devices may not be as trustworthy as you think, especially in the context of determining how many calories you should consume to stay in your calorie deficit. Before we get to talking about how accurate these devices are, we need to know first and foremost kind of what they're measuring. So each company has a proprietary algorithm, which should already start raising some red flags in your head. Anytime something's proprietary, it means that you, the consumer, are not going to know exactly what the company is doing in terms of tech. This is done because obviously they don't want people stealing their technology, which makes sense. They want to have, the best calorie tracking algorithm and they don't want to let their competitor steal it and make it better. But that hurts the consumer because not only is the competitor not aware of how they're tracking your calories, but you are also not aware. So they all have proprietary algorithms. It takes general steps for the day, your heart rate, and it kind of crunches some numbers and generally figures out with your body weight how many estimated calories you're burning in a given day. Off the jump, it's an estimated calorie count. They do not claim that it's your exact calorie count, but somewhere along the lines, we got it kind of twisted and people started using the calorie count from their tracker to determine how many calories they're allowed to eat per day. And because of the integrations with food tracking apps like MyFitnessPal, MyFitnessPal will adjust to the calories that you burn for the day. There's a little section in the MyFitnessPal top little calories for the day that says exercise, and then it adds on extra calories to your calorie count. So how are we going to know for sure that that's right? People could be hitting weight plateaus. People couldn't be losing weight or couldn't be gaining weight because they are adjusting their calories up or down based on this arbitrary number that the research shows really doesn't accurately track anything. So speaking of the research, let's get into it. Now, there are a couple peer-reviewed journals that have done some studies on this topic, but I don't pay for that, and I don't have a PubMed subscription. So I read a couple abstracts. I'll link a couple abstracts down below, but I want to talk about something that I can actually read and put my hands on the data completely. So I found a study done at Stanford. Now, this wasn't published in a peer-reviewed journal, so in the hierarchy of evidence, it's not at the top, but it was done in a trusted institution, as far as we can trust institution these days. I mean, take that for whatever you want. A trusted institution and released on their website. So in the hierarchy of evidence, I feel that I can kind of trust this one. In the study done by Stanford, I think this was done in 2017. What's actually encouraging is when they measured heart rate, they were pretty accurate. They measured the Apple Watch, Basis Peak, Fitbit, Surge, Microsoft Band, Mio, Alpha 2, Plus 2, and the Samsung Gear 2. And they were way more accurate than the other like kind of knockoff brands, these brands that I just mentioned. So with these brands, they took 60 volunteers wearing a variety of these brands, and they started with, does this actually measure your heart rate? I think that's where most people started with these wearable devices is, oh, I want to know what my heart rate is. So encouragingly, they measured heart rate within a 5% error rate, which is actually really great because that's kind of the baseline of where we want to be for calorie estimation. If your heart's pumping, you're burning more calories, etc. Science, all that jazz. So that's encouraging, right? Now, where it gets a little fuzzy is when they pushed it into energy expenditure, meaning the calories burned. We had some problems. So the most accurate device, now they don't mention which one this was, but the most accurate device was off by an average of 27% of daily energy expenditure. Oof! That is a lot of error rate in there. Now, the least accurate was off by 93%. What? So imagine you're desperately trying to lose weight for whatever reason. Mental health, physical health, you just want to look a little bit better. Beach season's coming up, you want to be looking sexy, however you define that. And you are basing your daily intake of calories on a measure that is 93% inaccurate. You're going nowhere. It's unfortunate that we haven't gotten a little bit further, but hopefully these studies continue to gain a little bit of traction and people start to understand that these devices are not horrible and they can be really good for a certain number of things, but maybe we can't use them to say, oh, I burned an extra 600 calories today, I'm gonna eat this donut because I've already burned it off, right? That may not be the best practice in terms of weight loss, or saying, oh, I didn't exercise that hard, I don't need to eat as much to gain more weight. It goes both ways. These devices can be inaccurate below and above. It's we're not there yet. That's the main takeaway of the video. And unfortunately, for me, a little bit of speculation, the only way that I think we're gonna get there is in-body tech, which brings in a whole heap of a lot of issues with medical history and tracking, and you know, it's a gray area. So are you willing to give the trade-off for perfect calorie expenditure estimation? And maybe the government's tracking you? I don't know. They probably already are. This is getting really conspiratorial today. Trust me, I'm not sitting in my basement with a with a tinfoil hat on. I'm just saying, the government's looking at you, boys. Anyway, moving away from the conspiracy theories for a little bit, it's a little discouraging, right? Bottom line, we can't use our wearable tracking devices for an accurate calorie estimation. Wah, wah, that's sad. But there's a video here where I talked about how to get within error range of what your daily calorie estimation should be. And I think that you can stick to that and just kind of track the old-fashioned way. Track your body weight, see where you are at maintenance if you're holding steady over a 2-week period, tracking your calories, subtract or add 500 calories to that maintenance number, and see where you go from there. It's a longer process, yes, but in the grand scheme of things, weight loss or weight gain is a long-term process. And so taking those extra 2 to 3 weeks to determine what your maintenance calories are will really go a long way, rather than just saying, oh, my Fitbit says I burn X amount of calories, I'm just gonna do it like that. So that's the scientific evidence, but let's talk about what's really important, and that's my anecdotal evidence. Because like I said, I've been wearing a Fitbit for a long time, and I've got a ton of data, and I actually did fall into the trap when I first started wearing a Fitbit of, oh, well, the Fitbit says I've burned 4,000 calories today and I've eaten 3,500 calories today. Why aren't I losing any weight? Well, because it was off by a lot. What we're gonna do next is kind of look at my personal data. Now, again, hierarchy of evidence. This is anecdotal evidence because this is just one person, not a study, but I still think it has some merit. So if you look at this current week that we're going through, this is Saturday when I'm recording this. This is the whole week of data that I have. My highest calories was 5,100 calories on Monday. Now, I did have a hard leg session on Monday. I did walk, I think, 15,000 steps that day. However, it may not be entirely accurate that I got to 5,100 calories. For me personally, what I do is I subtract 1,000 calories from that, just as a general estimation right off the bat. So it's more likely that I got to 4,100. That may still be high because we really don't know. There's a lot of different factors. I am in a calorie deficit right now. My resting metabolic rate may be lower because of that. My NEAT, my non-exercise activity thermogenesis, my favorite word, might be lower because of that calorie deficit. So we just don't know. There's a lot of different factors that play into your daily energy expenditure. For me, what I try and do is hit a level of steps per day so that I'm not falling below that daily activity level, train hard when it's my training days, and follow my nutrition plan that I've already determined based on my maintenance calories. So my cutting calories right now, I'm at 2,500. That might be low, that might be high, but we adjust as we go, right? I'm steadily losing weight, so I haven't changed anything yet. It's about trial and error, right? We're never gonna have perfect data, and for me that sucks because I love data and I want the data to be perfect, but we're not there yet. We're not gonna have that. So it's trial and error. That's how we figure it out. When we're talking about these devices, they can be really good for heart rate, they can be really good for tracking trends in your resting heart rate. Who knows? Maybe you've gotten one that's super accurate, and if you do a self-study and you determine that, hey, this is actually accurately measuring my calories, then go for it. But I just don't think that it's something that you can really rely on based on the data that we have here, that 93, some of them are off by 93%. That is wild. All right, that was all I had for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. I will link the Stanford study down below so you can read it on your own. If you wear one of these devices, I would love to hear about how you go about tracking in the comments below. I just want to get a little bit more data on it, and you know, the algorithm gets boosted when people interact with the video, so go ahead and do that. If you've got any questions on wearable tech, I hang out in the comments. You can DM me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram, you know, shameless plug. Check out our podcast, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy videos like this. I hope you guys are having a great day. Get strong and stay strong. I will see you next Monday. Peace.